philosophy of education. So, what do I see as the purpose of education? So, for the basics, I feel like, of course, education started out as for further knowledge, gaining critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, and just kind of understanding the world around us, as I said. And I feel like definitely for us to communicate more effectively. But education to me is more of finding yourself through education by exploring your passions and your interests and kind of just gain a better understanding of yourself and just your place in the world. And then I put from our text this quote, a craft that one naturally masters in a world that surrounds one from childhood. So, as a role of an educator in both inside and outside of an instructional setting, so I put the role of an educator is to facilitate learning and development in students both inside and outside of an instructional setting. Inside the classroom, an educator is responsible for providing students with knowledge and skills that they need to succeed in their studies and in life. This includes teaching students with the content of the curriculum, helping them to develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills, like I said, and providing them with the tools they need to be successful. Also, developing a critical voice for your students. How have your experiences as a student impacted you as a future professional educator? So, this is a good question because as a student, I found the impact on me as an educator, as a future educator, and as a student. I feel like I was able to observe like different teaching styles and approaches, and as well as the attitude of teachers and demeanor on like the classroom environment. So with that being said, everyone knows that like we don't learn the same. We don't. Everyone has different learning styles and everyone has different teaching styles. So as someone who I can't really say from personal experience as a student, hands-on from teaching people, but in my own workplace at Starbucks, when I'm training somebody, I understand that everyone learns a different kind of way. So since we're older, I try to inform them like, hey, like, how do you feel like this, like, are you more hands-on, or are you more visual, or like, there's different ways that people learn, and it's really important to understand that and imply that for each and every student that you come across. And of course, being passionate about the subject that you're teaching and going that extra mile to ensure that the students have the best learning experience. So 3 qualities that I believe an effective teacher should have is passion, empathy, and commitment, of course, to lifelong learning. Because you're going to really want to have that commitment if you're going to be teaching for quite a long time. You're going to want to have passion for what you're doing, and you really need to focus on what goals you have for your students and for where you are in life and in general, and finding that purpose within yourself as an educator and influence positively onto your students too. But I also wrote that in order to develop these qualities is to observe and learn from other educators, and maybe set yourself in a classroom eventually before and kind of fill things out. Definitely staying up to date on the latest educational trends. We learn more and more every day, even as educators. They're still finding ways of how we teach and how people can learn. I feel like that could definitely reflect on my own learning. So, purpose and wanting to be an educator. I feel like helping students reach their full potential to be lifelong learners and people, setting a positive vibe for the school setting that we're in, and experience. I think that's what I meant to put, but definitely it transforms you into a more knowledgeable person, and I want people to be able to know themselves and identify their goals, purpose, find their skills, talents, and become the best that they can be in life. So based on my research in the class, how would I change schools or the field of education so students can meet the challenges of the next 50 years? Take risk. I know sometimes when it comes to teaching, it can kind of be a little bit overwhelming to deal with all the pressure, and I feel like just for it to be successful, you should just think outside the box for your students, providing them with like the latest technology and resources, connecting one-on-one if needed, so that everything runs smoothly and that everyone can get what they need. And then based on what I've learned in the class as well as my own experiences, what is your working philosophy of education? So my working philosophy of education is that all students should have access to a quality education that is tailored to their individual's needs and interests. I believe that education should be a collaborative process between teachers, students, and families, and that it's rooted in the principles of equity and inclusion. It's also, like I said, a process of exploration and discovery. Growing as a human, you learn all types of things through every different year you go through. And finally, I believe that education is a lifelong journey. It goes throughout your entire life. We are learning every day. And I feel like teachers should strive to create an environment that is engaging, inspiring, and empowering. All right, and thank you for watching. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your semester. And I appreciate you guys for watching my video.